Welcome to Uplift Women's Wellness. I'm Bethany Bush, founder of Head to Toe Strength.
And I'm Aria Zahed, a licensed marriage and family therapist. We're here to empower and inspire women to thrive through holistic wellness.
Each week, we'll dive into topics like fitness, mental health, and personal growth,
and share real conversations and actionable insights to help you live your strongest, healthiest life.
Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started.
Okay, Bethany, so today I want to talk about inner beauty and outer beauty and seeing ourselves as a whole person. I am not a historian, so I took 2 women's studies classes in college, 1 men's studies class, which was super helpful, and I feel like very rarely do schools offer that, so I'm so glad I was able to take that in college. And the 3 of those together did go into a lot of history of the current present day female, quote unquote, issues that we're facing and the background behind them. But also I took some anthropology classes and a psychobiology class. And that class was really helpful also with men and women because it shared kind of like where attraction comes from and why things that men and women care about now that are different from each other came from a genetic perspective, which was reproduction focus, how men and women partners. Mainly men do care about what people look like, and then women cared about personality, cared about things like resources and wealth with the partners they chose. I want to talk about that past moving into now and how we can have women also look at themselves as a whole person the way so many women can look at men as a whole person, not just looks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I'm like thinking, and there's a few scenarios where like the interviewer will give the cue cards to the opposite leads of like, what did you wear? Da, 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 da. And like they'll give it to the male, and then she'll get his cue cards that'll be actually about the role. Most recently, I can't remember which 2 were doing it.
God.
But yeah, they like the interview.
Yes.
Like they were going to interview each other. And he got her cards, or they purposely gave him her cards.
Oh my God.
And then she had his cards, and how like,
wow,
that right there just shows in media and in film the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's definitely this societal versions of men and women that we see in the media. So like TV shows, movies, they stereotype, men and women in ways that we learn outside of our families, those same stereotypes, especially when we're little and we're like seeing adults in these shows, movies, whatever. But let me actually go backward. And I do want to address what I do know about why there is a standard of beauty for women. Long, long, long time ago, when humans lived in like clans, their parents and family members would arrange the kiddos to get married. So I think they were of an age where they could reproduce already. They would be partnered, and they would partner it by the women for looks and the men for their resources, because women did not have their own set of resources in the same ways.
Because it was strictly biological. They
Wait,
were
what
supposed
do you
to
mean?
like make babies and
Yes.
like they were gatherers, and
right,
yeah, like
exactly. Yes, and then men were typically like leaders, I guess, and then things like warriors, hunters, very physical, and then the women did do things that were more, we'll just say gatherers. We'll just go to that period of time to start. So the women, they were chosen kind of by what they look like because they needed to be strong mothers. They needed to be able to get pregnant and survive pregnancy and labor. And that was the only visual, is the only way people had for women to say, like, yes, you'd be able to do this. So things like wider hips or bigger breasts or something where they say, like, yes, you look like someone that could carry a child, get pregnant, carry, survive labor, not die during labor, and then be strong enough to raise the children. So mentally strong too. So all people had was what a woman looked like. And it has shifted so significantly. And the way people are matched, obviously, is no longer arranged. We choose our partners. But it's still kind of like women do want men with resources. In this case, like money, high paying jobs. That is more attractive.
Stability.
Stability. Yes. Thank you, Bethany. That's what it is. Back in the day, it was stability because, yes, the woman had the children, but you needed great housing for the kids to survive. You needed food for the kids to survive. It was all about making kids and having your bloodline continue, right? Very safely in the most healthy ways. You didn't want anyone getting sick or passing away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, it's still like we used to be
Mm-hmm.
how all the animals are still,
Mm-hmm.
where you choose the most robust female
Yeah.
because estrogen and all of those things that you're going to be able to handle, they show in the exterior. And if you're away, you don't look as robust. So you don't look like you'd be the opportune mate to carry life and then sustain life and then raise it to be the next warrior or mother.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. And you want to have healthy children so they live on, so they can have healthy children and then they live on. That was the goal. But that is, again, it's a psychobiology perspective. So these things are very embedded. We don't look at reproduction nearly in the same way anymore.
Depending on the part of the world, though, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm only talking about the United States because even there's some arranged marriages in other parts of the world too. So only the United States. And that's actually because I grew up here, that is my vision of men and women. So yeah, we'll label it the United States in the present day. Women are known to want money and men are known to want women who are beautiful. But that's kind of the background of it was for children's survival.
It was a survival of the species, survival of humans.
Yes. Yes. And that's why it's so embedded now completely on accident. But things are shifting because women have just as many resources on their own as men. And the standard of beauty, as we've mentioned before, has also changed where we can actually watch it go through time. So, like 50s ish, very curvy, Marilyn Monroe S, then the 60s, then the 70s, and then the 80s is when people started to get really, really, really thin. So the people, and by people, I mean like famous figures, models, movie stars. And we've kind of watched it ebb and flow, right? And that is the part where how come women are ebbing and flowing? The men always kind of stay the same. Do you know what the answer is?
No.
Advertising. It is companies telling women, this is what you need to look like, spend the money to do it.
So it's a marketing scheme.
It is all marketing, branding. Women, you aren't enough. Pay for these services. Pay to look like this. Pay to be like this. And we're only going to show you the women we want to show you so you can see how different you are and make a change.
And just compare.
Always comparing. Always comparing. And even now we're like learning things like Photoshop and the power of makeup. And
Well,
so
filters even.
filters, yes. So back in the day, people just saw billboards, magazines, people on TV. So they felt really, really not good enough because they didn't have those extra tricks and tips, and even today, a model, someone so wonderful looking that they're paid for what they look like and how they can move their bodies, still makeup and Photoshop
And airbrush.
and airbrush. Yeah. So how can anyone feel like they compare? So it accidentally hurts people's self-esteem.
Is it an accident though?
No,
I was like, is it an actual
you're right.
accident or is that 100% purposeful of like compare yourself to this page and think about how much less than you are so then you buy said product?
Yes. I mean, from an advertising perspective, yes. Do I think the models know that they're causing this pain for other women? No.
Well, they're just trying to eat and live just like everybody else.
They're just at work.
They're working.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just working.
But the people who got to choose the women and who were thinking about the products.
And when it comes to marketing and ad agencies, and I don't know if you're going to know this or not, is it based on males? Like how many females are in these departments and in these rooms and in these conversations?
Okay, so let's talk about advertising as it started. So a lot of people think of Mad Men. Okay, the show Mad Men, right? Giant ad agency, all men, a little bit of a sexist era when advertising got really big, and no input from women, and beautiful women were used to advertise women's products and men's products. Because for men it was the sex sells situation to get their attention.
And we're talking the 50s and the 60s?
I'm thinking like 60s. Yes. But then it continued because it works to sell to women when it comes to beauty. But if you look at advertising even still today, it's just now shifting. There's more diversity with body shape and skin color and things like that. But prior, women didn't really have a say, and men got to kind of choose what women should look like and be like. And then the women, as the viewer of that ad or whatever, felt the need to make that happen.
So what was the ideal woman?
What do you mean?
Like what did she look like? Like the women that they chose, like was it the
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroes that are, very fair skinned and blonde and curvy and
Yes.
very beautiful and sultry
Yes.
and seductive?
Yes. That is what I'm imagining when I think of kind of like the advertisements where women were still like drawn, like almost like cartoon women. Very realistic cartoon women. I don't know if you can see like what I'm seeing, but it was large, like bust and hips, super, super tiny waist.
I mean, every Disney princess
Yeah. Well, that's
or
true
Barbie.
too. That, oh my gosh, yes. And, oh, Barbie. I love her. But yes, it was definitely when you played with Barbies and then you grew up and you didn't look like Barbie, you felt it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we both love
Yeah.
Barbie the movie. Just it's great.
Such a good movie. But yes, so I think, anyway, so that was kind of 60s. So I think now we're moving into an era of social media, which I also feel like there's a lot more people who are choosing to kind of be models in their own right, like influencers. And that's exciting because it's not just men making these decisions, it's like women making this a career. But I also feel like I'm still seeing a lot more beauty focus in social media. Then let's talk about internal stuff for women.
Mm-hmm.
Because social media is so visual,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, kind of the point, but like,
And also like the body positive influencers, they still are labeled that. You're still labeled a plus size model. I don't know if you're what, a size 6 or something.
yeah,
I think you really need to be at 0, 002 or whatever to be a model, which is, and I'm quoting Devil Wears Prada, but
yeah,
again, old movie, but isn't that because like I'm trying to follow more and more and more body positive female influencers,
yeah.
but they get a lot of hate too.
Yes, they do.
Body positive fitness influencers, they get massive amounts of hate as well. So it's like that mindset of what a woman should be and look like and feel and whatever. In some stages, doesn't feel like it's changed at all. Like we're trying, but then we're
Yeah.
getting all the hate from both
Yes.
sides.
Yes. Yes. And even just the label body positive, it already shows you're in the wrong category of things.
Yeah.
And you actually have to go look that up versus being able to just say, like, beautiful woman. And then it's like a billion different colors and shapes.
No, because if you put that into the algorithm right now, you will get very specific results.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes me sad.
It is sad because like there's a category for it. Again, it's another category
Right.
for us to be in. So it's like we can't just be. You have to pigeonhole it and categorize it and catalog it and name it.
So frustrating. Yeah. And also the comments, that's even worse. That's even worse. Like, who are these people?
Well, everybody has balls behind a screen.
Exactly. Like, they're taking the time to find the person, and then they're making horrible comments at the person. I will never be okay with that.
I just, I don't know, call it naiveness, call it whatever you want to call it, but I don't know if it's like, why? Like, what do you gain from doing that? From human bashing.
I know. Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. But this is exactly what I am alluding to. Of like, this is someone. We'll just say it is someone who's body positive. They are actually putting themselves out there to be there as someone who's quote unquote different, but very much representing more of the female population. But people are coming in just looking at the photo, not having a conversation with them and seeing how kind they are potentially, how funny they are potentially, how smart they are potentially. It is all about, this is what you look like. I'm going to shame you for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is absolutely cruel. But the whole point is like, I would feel like men do not have the same issue because women care. Again, this is in the United States, and this is a heterosexual example. Women care about personality. So when they are attracted to a man, potentially they want to get to know them. They are a package. I don't feel like it's the same for women media wise. Obviously, if you're dating and you're like going on dates, you want to know the whole person. But just from like a visual standpoint, movies, shows, advertising, just Hollywood, social media now, it is visualization of women and not able to even figure out if someone is warm or kind or considerate or how smart they are potentially. Right? Do you see what I mean?
But it also seems like if you do want to look at the rest of it and look at the layers, that's a threat.
What do you mean?
Because
Wait, a threat to who? That's my question.
the general norm, the general population. So when you've got a woman who is very funny, very intelligent, maybe not super attractive, but still some level of attraction, she's not supposed to be like that. Like it's not accepted. And there's a lot of celebrities, they will point out she's unconventionally beautiful. He's unconventionally handsome. But it's like, either they are or they aren't, but why is it only based on what your skin, what your, your DNA makeup and your phenotype, the way
Yeah.
you came out and how it portrayed on your body?
Right.
Like, you could be a horrible person, but be, on this old school scale of like a walking hot 10. But if you're a horrible person, what do
Yeah.
you have to bring? Like, what are you going to bring to this world? How are you going to make it a better place?
Yeah.
Just by being beautiful.
Yeah.
And it just feels like we haven't gone anywhere in that perspective, even though people are working hard, and like I know marketing is working really hard to shift it and be more, inclusive and more diverse and more, including of everybody.
Yeah.
But that's not the norm, and it's still pegged into a certain way,
Yes. Yeah.
which is also sad because that's probably why all of the weight loss drugs or whatever are all trending hugely right now. And you're seeing massive weight loss transformation shifts, which I don't even want to know what the shock feels like inside their cells, inside their bodies. Because, like, yes, they serve a purpose. They are helpful. They are beneficial. I have no problem with them. But when you're losing 60, 80, 100 pounds in a few months, that's shock. That's trauma just to fit in this mold.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And it bothers personally because there are people that I really like as body positive examples who now have lost a lot of weight. And that's fine for them. I'm happy for them. But also it just shows like you couldn't even be body positive forever. You still felt the need to go into that box. So I don't, it's really hard because it's like, are people being hard on themselves and they're like, I'm not good enough? Because what it looks like is someone who has models of a similar size and then they watch them get slimmer. It just is going to hurt your fans' self esteem potentially when they were looking up to you and they're like, oh, our bodies are so similar and you're famous and you're in movies. And then they change. And same with aging. I wish people would just age so then everyone could age. And it wouldn't be like, no, 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 you need to look 22. Everyone needs to look 22 all the time. It's so sad.
It is, because it's physically impossible. And you're supposed to grow. And it's supposed to wear on you. Like, you're supposed to have crow's feet and laugh lines and wrinkles on your forehead, and, so that you can emote, because that shows decades of a life lived. But when you go and you watch these women on screen and they're crying and you're like, are you actually sad? Because nothing's moving.
Yeah.
And it also, because in film, when I watch the whole thing, because because I love film, which is why I wanted to work in film, in that side of film, in the fitness side of film, because you're supposed to be able to get lost in the story and like you're there. It's supposed to not be reality.
Right. Yeah.
But when you just look at whoever's doing the acting and all you see is the actor, it takes you out of the story. Like, oh, I'm watching so and so say lines. And it just makes it matter of fact of what it is, rather than watching a film and watching a story unfold and being like connecting to the characters. Because, like, when you read a book, you put them all in your head. But I don't know if you do. When I read a fantasy book or just a book, I like murder. That's my thing. I create the characters in my head, but I'm not sitting there going fat, slim, wrinkles, no wrinkles,
No. Uh-uh.
short, tall, like, unless they are descriptive parts, because like that makes the character. But when I'm imagining the characters in my book, I'm not getting that nitty-gritty with their minute details of whether or not they've got crow's feet
Right.
or if they've got a little extra here and there.
Ah, I know.
That's a human, especially as a female. Like you have to for health. There's so many issues and detriments that come from trying to force women. And I love the joke where it's like, yeah, my stomach sticks out. It's like, yes, you own a uterus
Yeah.
and ovaries. And, if you choose to make life or choose not to make life and choose to have kids and whatever, they have to go somewhere.
Right. Yes. And that actually, Bethany, I was going to bring this up with you because I don't like how much value is put on women's bodies to be perfect. Because when they become moms for the first time, their bodies change so significantly. And when you're a mom for the first time, you need to be your most emotionally strong. And then women are questioning their worth because their bodies change.
Well, and also, like, look at how magnificent the female body is.
Hmm.
All the organs move and the uterus gets huge and you
Yeah.
get a placenta and all these things. And then the stomach comes way back out. And then within a few days of pushing the baby back out and you start breastfeeding,
Hmm.
your body's already getting itself back into homeostasis. But then it's like, oh, but now I have all of this. It's like, and it's so sad because postpartum depression, which you're obviously going to have more information about and more knowledge of, is so big now. I feel
Yes.
because it's and you're seeing it in media with celebrities after they've had kids, they're finally starting to talk about it, and it's starting to be talked about. And at first, like the baby blues, you didn't talk about baby, but it's got to be a lot of that and on the side of hormonal health, if you carry a male versus carrying a female. And like a lot of people come away with thyroid problems, but they're undiagnosed. And a lot of people come away like you go through what is traumatic. It killed people for years and still does. And our mortality rate is not fantastic when it comes to infants and mothers. But you go through this whole thing, and then you've got the mom groups that are also doing the chiming.
Mm.
So it's like, where can you go? And just like we've talked about, where can you go and take it off and just like be? Or if you have a partner who's like, ugh,
Oh
you had
my
kids and now
gosh.
your body, blah, 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 blah. Ugh.
It's heartbreaking.
It just like you said, till death and forever and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
When you did vows or did whatever, or said whatever you said.
Hmm.
And then it's like, what were you expecting me to do?
Yeah.
I wanted kids. You wanted kids. We made a baby happen. And now it's like, oh, you're not who I married. No, I'm not.
Right. Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that that's a part of us needing to figure out a way to age gracefully because still in the model world of things, women are super young,
Oh, yeah.
right? Super, super young. People start modeling at 15, 16, walk the runways. Like they're so young. And then so when people are 40, 50, they still don't have models of 40 and 50 that are real. And then I also feel like because it's so prominent of young women as our kind of like media or media focus, men also forget that women age. Similar with what you were saying with pregnancy, and again, hetero men, hetero women, that's also not fair.
But also that because of the marketing of sex and what goes behind sex and how we market sex, there's also all of those layers too. Because certain types of sex and sexual attraction sell and make money. And if you look 20 forever, you're easier to sell because then you get the older populations and the upcoming populations and the tweens.
Right. Totally. Yes. And actually, genetically, going back to my psychobio class, men, kind of no matter their age, are attracted to women in their 20s. So, like 13-year-olds through like 93-year-olds, still attracted to women in their 20s. Because women in their late teens, early 20s are the most fertile.
Yeah.
And so but we need to stop that now. Because I still, like, I get it if it's completely genetic and it's like, it comes from the past that it came from, whatever. But I also feel like we can do better in this country with showing people what people really look like. Because Bethany, you are in health. How many bodies are there? How many colors are there? How many shapes are there?
How many people are in the world?
Yes, thank
Billions?
you.
There's billions of that.
Okay.
Because no one looks the same, moves the same, feels things the same way, interpret things the same way. And I love it when I'm like, all right, do a squat. It's like I am. It's like, why is your butt way up in the air and your chest is down on top of your thighs? Because it's our own mind's eye. And that's why mirrors are great. But that's why paying me to watch you is better, because we never really know what our body is doing because everybody's different.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody's different. I don't care if you take everybody who has broken their right femur in their life at the exact same time, at the exact same age, at the exact same height, weight, all that. None of them are going to look the same and move the same after that injury.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a shape.
Yeah.
Everybody has a body type. It's personal.
Yeah.
You have what you have.
Totally. And that is why I don't like having a very specific standard of beauty. Because all the people not that, which is in the billions potentially, are going to be hurt. And we only have one body. One. And we should not feel like we have to compare and contrast and never feel good enough.
When I like the way that it said, like, you get this life once, you get this body once. No one is laying on their deathbed at whatever age going, man, I wish I would have been skinnier.
Yes.
It's, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have
hung out with family, friends,
had more balls, traveled more, didn't work myself into the ground.
Yeah, working less is like the number 2 thing.
It's like, yeah, looks are great. But like you always say, when you're 90 and you're sitting on the front porch rocking away, the person next to you also was probably around the same age. Y'all ain't gonna look hot and firm and sexy and
No.
gravity.
Yes.
Hits everybody. Nobody's safe from gravity.
Okay, point being, I get, as the visual creatures we are, that we do care about looks. What I don't like is the comparing to the point of you wish you looked different, and the not good enough feelings that come from it, like depression, as an example, simply because it's just not fair. It's just not fair.
So if let's say I'm your client and we switch roles, and I come to you and I tell you, I legitimately never have found myself beautiful or attractive. no matter how thin, how active, how well, I never actually fit within the framework because I never was not a double digit size person ever, no matter how much I didn't eat.
Yeah.
How would you work me through that?
Yeah. Well, I would explain like you're only looking at models. We would fix that. I would have you look at normal people, maybe go to an airport, maybe go to Disneyland. Look at tons and tons of regular people. That'd probably be advice one. Second, we would have conversations about what a whole person is.
What is a whole person?
A whole person. That is inner beauty, even more than outer beauty. Like, I like what you said earlier, Bethany, when you brought up what can you give to the world. To me, if you're like a giving person, a loving person, that's really high inner beauty. And you do make the world a better place. And that personally to me means more, but I'd want to bring that out in my client.
Would you say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder as well?
I mean, yes.
Because we have very different ideas
Yeah.
of attractiveness,
Yeah.
of beauty, of attractiveness. You and I don't agree
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with a lot of my clients, which is fine.
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay. So, yes, I do think beauty, when you are judging beauty, I do think it shifts per person. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why. I cannot tell you why, but I think that is fair. Every person has what they like. I just also want people to keep in mind if someone is not beautiful to you, you don't need to tell them. You don't need to go up to people and judge people. And same towards yourself. If you are not quote unquote beautiful to you, you do not need to sit there and complain about every little thing that you don't think is good enough.
So, as someone who has suffered for decades with said mindset and multiple years of therapy, how do you work through that? Like how and I know that there's no such thing as healed in therapy. That's
Right.
not a thing. But how do you get to that point
Mm-hmm.
where you do love the body you have because you
Yeah.
literally have one?
Yes.
And if you're lucky, you make it to your 70s or 80s or 90s.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question, Bethany, but that's why I get so mad at the visual society stuff going on because you never even deserved to feel that way. When you were little, you didn't sit around comparing your little kid body to other kids' bodies. Hopefully,
No, I did.
you you did. Even other little.
I compared me to little me. So I have a very distinct memory. If
Yeah.
we're going to go deep.
Okay.
At 7 or 8, and in my Hello Kitty journal, I remember distinctly after watching home videos of me of like a toddler running around in my amazing cloth diaper, bawling my eyes out, saying I wish I could go back to being that person as a child.
Was that personality? Wish I could go back to that person, or physically?
Like physically go back to that.
Why?
Because I have always wanted to be a size X in my own body and in my own mindset. It's just like breathing. Like that didn't exist. I've never existed as a child not wanting to look and be different.
Did someone say something to you about your looks?
I mean, always.
Okay. See, it wasn't your fault. That's what I'm saying. We are not born judging ourselves.
No, we're not.
It's from other people. And then we have these stereotypes of the perfect human blasted at us constantly. So we learn to question ourselves.
And that can come from within your home.
Absolutely.
Like that doesn't necessarily just come from
No.
exteriorly in media. That can come from within your home.
Yes. Well, where did your comments come from?
Everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. If you're a little kid, like little, I'm talking about 3, 4, 5, 6, you don't have these negative thoughts. They are shown to you somehow. So by the time you're an adult, like we all go through puberty, we all have our little awkward moments, right?
Yes.
Right? We go through puberty, and then when we are our fully developed self, and then we don't look like how we saw adults looking like, then that's when the not good enough feelings come, possibly. But parents, when kids are really little, can teach you are a whole person. You are smart. You are kind. You care about animals. You are going to be the president one day, whatever. That would be more helpful than like, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so handsome. Right? So you can raise children to like even be able to see model type people and still feel equivalent because it's kind of whole person looking at another whole person.
Wasn't that also like the recommendation nowadays is to not say, oh, you're such a good little girl. You're such a good little boy.
Yes.
Because the connotation of that
Yeah.
can have such a detrimental
Exactly.
outcome
Yeah.
that we've been through. So like now that millennials are making babies, and we, even as millennials, have, oh my God, 18 and 20 somethings, which I refuse to accept that I'm old enough for. We're trying to parent differently because, granted, I'm not a parent, and nor do I want to be a parent, but I see it in nieces, nephews, littles, and it's like these are things that are learned from a societal standpoint.
Yeah. The general thing is we should be teaching, little boys and girls like
Kindness.
kindness. Everyone is equal. Looks don't matter. Everyone is equal. Colors don't matter. Shapes don't matter. If they're a good person, that's what matters. And you, my child, need to grow up to be a good person. Do not judge people. Do not bully people. Do not make fun of people.
Which the parents also need to model
Mm-hmm.
because they watch everything. Everybody knows that moment when the toddler looks up and goes, fuck! And they go, what the?
Right?
And they're like, oh, I guess I shouldn't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Because like every kid, every parent has that moment when they go, what's that mean, mommy? I'll never forget when my mom told a dirty joke and I laughed and she goes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. She was like, oh.
Oh my gosh.
Because like,
Oh my gosh.
and even in nutrition and working out and all of that, it's the same thing. Like if you're going to do, like, it's so adorable. I love I post them all over Instagram when I see them, like the little kid workout sets. And then like she's doing bench press while mommy's doing bench press and she's got her own little bench. It's so cute.
Oh my gosh.
Or there's a lot of professional athletes women who have now made babies and I'll have these kiddos and they're going through and doing their workouts and the kiddos doing it with them. You also can't go, I'm working out to lose weight. I'm working out to be skinny. Like also, you can't use fitness as something to make yourself smaller also.
Yeah.
Because you are modeling that behavior for the little one who's running around.
Yes.
And if she's like, well, I want a bigger butt or I want small, I need my six pack.
Right.
She heard that from somewhere.
Right.
He heard that from somewhere.
Yes. That's actually a really good point. I have clients that have body image issues because of their mom's body image issues.
I mean, I believe that my therapist thinks that's where most of mine come from. Because they're
Oh.
deep-seated.
Okay. Yes.
And they're like
That makes sense.
innate, like a part of me.
Yeah.
But also I've tied it to my self-worth.
Your value and your self-worth you have tied to what you look like.
To my visual, yeah.
Yes.
Because they say in fitness, your body is your business card.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ugh, that makes me sick. But yes, I get it. I get it. But that is like the entire purpose of this discussion is we need to start seeing everybody, women and men, as whole entire people and what they offer to their families, their communities, their schools, their jobs, whatever, and stop placing value on looks. Bethany, how much of looks is genetics?
100%.
So how much control do you have over your own genetics?
None. But wasn't there a study
Yeah.
where they put numbers
Mm.
on everybody's head
Yes. Yeah.
and then they had you wander around and find the number, like the matching pair? And didn't everybody actually end up finding attractive what they were like?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Pretty good.
Like the 4s and the 5s and the 6s like didn't exactly match, I don't think.
Yeah, but it was still middle and middle.
But it was still middle and middle. Yeah, like like a 1 didn't go, well, I look like this 10. Like it was like if you're gonna, like, what do you think looks the most like you? So we know in ourselves how attractive we are just being.
Yes. No, like, okay, you are right, but that is partnership attraction.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with partnership attraction because that is, you want to spend your life with someone, you want them to
So that's partnership attraction. That has nothing to do with personal attraction. Like
that has nothing to do with what you feel you look like and your value of a human.
Well, yeah, because like, if you're like me, you're attracted to brains. And sometimes look, but most of the time it's brains that comes first.
I don't know, Bethany.
You don't know?
I don't think, because here's the thing, like if you are on an app and you're swiping, you can't see people's intelligence.
True.
You can read their profile. You can kind of get a good gauge. You can see how they write. You can see how they use punctuation.
If they do.
If they use punctuation, like things like that. Like there are clues. But I also think
there needs to be some type of like relational, physical attraction.
You have everyone.
And we're going to do a whole podcast on dating.
Okay. Yes. But the whole swiping thing has really changed things. Because if you would meet people at a bar or you would meet people at work, like back in the day, you could talk to them and you kind of got to see all of them as a package. Yeah. But when you're just swipe, first thing you see is a face. So you can get to the brain. It's just not going to be number one. No. And that's not your fault. That's how the app works.
That's how dating in 2025 is.
But see, the difference is though, like, we don't, as someone on an app, we don't reach out to people that we find unattractive and tell them. That's wrong. That's wrong. It is mean, but it happens to people all the time.
I mean, I see it from the perspective of like the social media, but I didn't also realize that happens like on dating apps.
There's bullying on dating apps.
Seriously.
I don't think it's that common because I think it's getting reported.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Like, I feel like there's combat against that.
Well, even Bumble has like safe dating and mindful dating and like they have different things.
We might have passed that era.
Yeah, because I see that where like that advertised where it's like how to date safely, how to date mindfully, how to date carefully, like.
Oh, good.
Like in a more psychological.
Okay.
But also in a safe way too. Because when we were running around as pups, we didn't exactly do smart things. Thank goodness there is no record of any of it anywhere. And if it exists, it's printed on a picture in some photo album or in somewhere buried and no one can find it. Like Pink says, we did the same amount of crazy shit. We just didn't document it.
No. And didn't have the internet.
No.
For a good chunk.
Yeah, not till, I mean, I was a teenager when we got internet, but.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, but I also want to mention, too, the downside of beauty. When you are the beautiful standard of woman, you get catcalled more. You have a lot more people hitting on you, more men glare at you, and that can make some people uncomfortable. No one like
So no one gets through this safely.
yes.
No matter what you look like,
Yes.
you're going to have to deal with something.
Yes. And that's why it's so important to work on all aspects of yourself. Do not just focus on inner beauty. Do not just focus on outer beauty. Make it a balance where you feel happy with yourself and you feel fulfilled with yourself and how you live your day to day life. I would say so. First, I would love for people to create a list of things that they like about themselves that don't say anything visual. And if you feel like your list is too small, or if you feel like there's something you want to work on, then work on it. Create a goal. I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better parent. I want to see my cousins more. Do those things. Work on those things. Make yourself proud in other ways other than visually.
So kind of taking the practicing gratitude also, but make it internal and not external of like, I have beautiful hair or feet or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then if you somehow, for a lot of women, they have a long list of things they don't like about themselves, stop saying that list to yourself. Stop looking in the mirror and pointing things out to yourself that you don't like and start seeing the whole person, the inner and outer you.
Can you also, is this helpful or not, to go to partners or spouses or significant others or girlfriends or like girlfriend, like besties, or your girl group or your boy group, your bros, and ask them like that vulnerable question. I mean, that's a vulnerable place to be. So it depends on the type of friendships you have. And like, also, I would challenge to like elevate your friendships to that level. But, have them give you non view, like beauty views or like skin views of why are you friends with me?
Yes. I mean, yes. Yeah. That's a great that's a great idea. Like if someone is just having trouble coming up with things that they like about
Because
themselves,
I mean, I have had days where that's a real thing.
yeah, go to a friend, go to a family member that you really trust. And I promise you when you talk to people who say that they love you in that bracket of people, they are not going to talk about visual stuff anyway. No. They talk about I love that you make me laugh. I love that I can call you and you make me feel better. I love that you hold my hand. I love like things that are the true you. And then that is how you can be, a whole person and start looking at all aspects of it.
One has a lot to do with feeling seen,
Yeah.
like where you actually feel seen.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. But it just like makes me sad that like people don't have that already. Like I would, yes, you should absolutely feel seen. You should have people in your corner who give that to you. But you also need to work on your judgment of yourself. So that's why these conversations are so important. You need to take it in. Like, yes, people see you. That's wonderful. And hold on to that in a way where you can now see yourself.
And even take it one step further and write it down and put it somewhere you can look at it every day. Or put notes in your phone where if you are having that day or your supervisor came in and just reamed your ass or the whatever fight you just got in with whomever, or you're just having one of those days, just keep that list handy of all of the things. No one's, at least I would hope, have friend groups based on physical appearance alone. And if they're in that phase of their lives, hopefully you'll get some friends who are going to have more of a deep connection and feel more closer to your soul and connected to your heart. Because even like when you met me, obviously you kind of felt a kinship and felt a different way, but also we weren't as close as we are now. You were a client for years, but there's still like that camaraderie, that relationship of I never commented on. I do work really hard to not say, wow, you look great. You look like you lost weight. I do work really hard because lost weight could mean you've been puking your brains out, or you got a cancer diagnosis, or you had a heart attack, or someone passed away, or you're deeply depressed. Like that's not necessarily associated positive. So when we are going to compliment someone, and let's say you haven't seen someone in a long, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. Like, wow, our schedules have been crazy. Like, don't, oh, you look great. Like, that's not something someone who's going through any of those scenarios wants to fucking hear.
And I also have noticed people comment on when people gain weight just as readily. Is that any of their business?
No, I could be it. I could totally tell you that. And I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, family is actually some of the most guilty of that. Oh, you look like you put on a little extra. And culturally too. Culturally, it's very dependent on where your family's from, on the ideas of beauty and the ideas of standards and the ideas of how you should look.
Yes. Yes. And that actually makes people who are working on their whole self and they have family commenting on visuals, that just makes it worse.
How do you positively set that boundary in those scenarios?
Yeah. I mean, if someone says, like, it looks like you put on weight, as an example, I would say, okay, thank you for commenting on that, but I am happier. I am doing all my hobbies. I am working out. Like, I don't need,
I'm taking care of myself.
I am taking care of myself. If you're saying that out of judgment, I promise you, I'm fine. Or whatever. You can have that conversation. You can say, or you can just set the boundary and say, like, can you please not comment on my looks? I don't comment on your looks or something. It depends on the relationship you have. So, like,
Because you don't want to be hurtful and you don't want to be mean. You don't want to
right.
like shut the conversation down, but you do want to clearly set the boundary of like, this is not an okay topic for you to come at me with, which is within your rights as a human being to your family, to your partner, to say, like, hey, I would really appreciate it if you didn't comment on that. Like, I struggle. Like, depending on the relationship, you can be
Yeah.
vulnerable or you can just be like, I don't want to have this conversation with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's your right.
I'm definitely thinking of family members right now.
I'm sure
Horrible.
everybody listening is thinking of whatever auntie or whatever
Yeah.
grandma or whatever uncle or whomever or teacher or instructor or someone in their lives. It was like, ooh, wow. Or, oh my gosh, you look great. How much weight did you lose? You look fantastic. Yeah, I haven't eaten in a few months because of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. Or like, I'm gaining weight because I'm almost 40 now. I'm sorry I don't look like the last time you saw me 15 years ago.
Because no one looks like how they looked 15 years ago.
So I would say let's just have an overall goal to see ourselves as a whole person and all the things that we offer and all the things that we can give and accomplish.
What would you say would be your closing opinion or thought or takeaway from what you can have or do from the conversation that all of our listeners just listened to?
Well, I would say if you're a parent, I do want you to work on the kiddos as a whole person. Inner beauty should be magnified because there's so much that goes into personality. And if you're an adult and you're working on having, I don't know, maybe you have some self-esteem issues or maybe you're really hard on yourself from a physical perspective, to also remember that the good things about you sometimes can't be seen. And take the time to recognize that and see that and put that as a part of your value as a person, not just what you offer on the outside. That are your genetics and not even your doing. Your inside, what you work on, that is your doing. That is your purpose as you. Yes, those are all your choices and your decisions, and you can be the most beautiful person if you wanted to.
Of how you show up in the world.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your insight and your thoughts and your very passionate knowledge of this extremely sensitive topic within both of our client bases.
Well, thank you too, Bethany.
You're welcome. Thanks. I try.
Thank you for joining us on Uplift Women's Wellness.
We're so grateful to have you as a part of our community. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it.
Follow us on social media for updates and extra inspiration between episodes.
And remember, you're stronger, braver, and more capable than you know. Until next time,
Stay strong, stay empowered, and keep uplifting each other.